Hey, Dina, how are you?
Hey Patrick, what's up? I'm good. How are you?
Great, not too much. It's a good day here. I'd love for you to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey everyone, what's up? My name is Deena Morrison. I am a producer coordinator at Revolt Media and TV for music programming.
Cool. And what does that mean exactly?
Producer coordinator, it's a mixture of production management and creative producing. So as a producer, I assist with creating some of the content around the music videos and some of the shows we have on our channel, as well as for our digital platform, Revolt.tv. Some of the things I focus on are artists, creative, and we have another platform called Revolt Justice, which basically talks about all of the cultural current events that are going on and that plague our community.
Mm. Mr. Sean Combs has been pretty loud about showing his, support for the social justice cause around it as well.
Yeah, definitely. That's one of the major things that he wanted us to focus on as a network because even
Hmm.
though we're all about, music and artists by artists, but at the end of the day we're people as well. And
Right.
who better to talk about what's going on than people who are dealing with it firsthand. So
Yep.
it's really like a call to action, and he's just being an example for other people to get confident and talk about these things.
For sure. And it's great to probably have that support from your organization top down. So let me ask you a question. How did you get involved in the music and entertainment industry?
I actually started off in 2014. That was my first internship. I was at a startup television network, so it didn't
Okay.
just deal with music. It was live television. It was a talk show. Um, and I loved it. It was great. I was an intern, and then they ended up hiring me. I was still in college, so basically I would go to work 3 days a week, and then I would have class 2 days a week, mostly online, and on the
Hmm.
weekends. Um, it was a startup company, so with startups, there's always a lot of things that don't really work out. So the company ended up going under in
Sure.
2015. So I ended up leaving, and then I got an internship at Hearst. I was with the
Okay.
digital media department, so I focused on production management. That's why I started off with production management, and we basically did all of the photo shoots for Cosmopolitan, Elle, Esquire, Redbook, Good Housekeeping, things of that nature.
Sure.
I worked with the producers to help create the photo shoot campaign. So I worked with like Lion Babe, that was like one of the artists I work with.
Yeah.
I worked with like Nike and Adidas, stuff like that. That was a different experience, but it was really good.
Yeah.
It expanded my network, so that was pretty cool too.
Good.
And then simultaneously, I started freelancing with Revolt. The um, the Hearst building is only around the corner from the old Revolt office.
Hmm.
Um, the story of how I got to Revolt is I was actually didn't have any internships or anything going on, and I was like kind of like really depressed because I loved working in entertainment and I just had to get back into it. So one day it was maybe like
Yeah.
3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and I was waitressing and serving, and I was just so pissed off, and I ended up going on LinkedIn. I was like, someone's gonna hire me, someone's gonna talk to me or something like
Right.
that. So I saw this guy. His name is Corey Colvin. He's one of my mentors now. He used to work at CNN, Fox, as a production manager, and I saw that he was currently
Hmm.
working at Revolt. And I was following Revolt. That's when they were doing the Revolt Music Conference, and I saw like Diddy had hired someone off who just stood up and was like, "Hey, I want to work for you." And he was like, "All right, cool." So I was like, "That's gonna be me." Long story
Okay.
short, I basically messaged him on LinkedIn and I said, "Hey, I love what you're doing. Your resume is super impressive. I hope to get to your caliber one day." And he messaged me back the next day and he was like, "Yeah, I see you've been working in entertainment too. I love to help people who are up and coming. Send me your resume." So I sent him my resume. Then he said, "Meet me in the city." And then I ended up at a shoot in the YouTube space with Sway and the whole Revolt
Oh,
team.
cool. Wow.
Yeah, it was like a surreal moment kind of. And then he was just
Yeah.
talking to me. He was like he was like, like the company is like it's still a startup. There's still a lot of things going on, but it's a great place to learn. If you're ambitious, you'll be great. You'll be dope. So, anytime that I was a freelancer, so I was a freelance PA. So literally, whenever they had something going on, he would call me, and I would be like, yes, like no matter if I had class, like no matter what I was doing, I would drop it and
Right.
go. Like one year, that year, in March, I flew myself down to Austin for South by Southwest, so I could work, and like they knew like how serious I was. And
Mhm.
then that summer, that May, I was graduating from college, and I didn't have a job offer from Hearst, so I was just hitting him up. I would go to the Revolt office and just be like, "Hey guys, like I'm here. I'm about to graduate. Like, what's good? What's going on?" And they
Right.
saw I was ambitious and I was really serious about it, so they just had me coming in. They just had me come in. I didn't really have to interview or anything. They said, "Yeah, like you're part of the team," and I just signed my
Nice.
paperwork. And yeah, so it was an interesting ride. I started off as a freelancer, associate. Then I graduated like maybe in May will make a year since I've been in music programming. Some of the challenges that I had to overcome was really knowing my worth and what I wanted to do. Um,
Mhm.
I had not been. Revolt is a music and television company, so
Right.
we do linear programming. We focus on music and artists, and we have a social team. So there's a lot of different avenues to explore since it is a startup company. So when I was in production management, I knew I didn't like it, so I had to really figure out what it is that I wanted to do exactly. Um, I didn't
Mhm.
like the technical aspect of everything, even though it was a great background. I learned a lot. So just really having to put my mind to what exactly I wanted, and I said I wanted to be a producer in music. I wanted to work with artists. I want to, have a say and have my voice heard on the type of music that we put out and the type of artists that we showcase.
Mhm.
Revolt is so small. I actually had the opportunity to attend some of the music meetings. I went to all of the concerts that we did. I watched
Right.
all the programs that we did. So I really got a feel and understanding of what Revolt's filter was, and I realized that I'm the target audience, so it's whatever I like basically. So I just
Yeah.
realized that like I am the audience. I'm the tool. As long as I understand who I am and what I want to do, then I'll be perfectly fine. Like it's not a matter of like learning someone else or like trying to piggyback off someone else. It was just really developing who I am and what my musical palette was. Um,
Mhm.
and then also like a lot of networking. Like I would always go to shows. Like I would go from show to show. Like 3 times a week at least I made it a point to go somewhere. And then I would meet some of the managers, I would meet some of the label reps, I would meet some people in the agency. I met with friends who worked on PR, who worked with some more like up and coming artists, like who aren't even really like on the radar like digitally. And I
Yeah.
would just like, go to some of their studio sessions. I would make relationships, give my opinion, and yeah, it was very grassroots. And then
Right.
I read this book called Produced by Faith by Devon Franklin, and it really helped
Okay.
me carve out how to get what I wanted. So there were like actionable steps of what you had to do. Like I had to write out, I want to be a producer for music programming, like
Mhm.
explicitly what I wanted. Then I had to look up companies who had producers in music programming. So I looked at like Spotify, Warner Brothers, Universal, RCA, Epic. I
Right.
hit up some people in my network who work for like radio stations, who worked for who were like journalists at different media outlets and publications, and I would ask them if they knew anyone, if they could just talk to me, just so I can get an idea of what it stood for. And then I connected with someone who owned their own label and who used to work at Epic and knew someone at RCA who was looking for an executive assistant, and they said executive assistant, it's not a great title, but you're basically right next to the person who's in charge of everything. So I was really aiming to go for a
Mhm.
position like that. Um and then, I sent in my resume, like I talked to the person, I really tried, and then it never worked out, so like I got a little discouraged after a while, but I was just so
Right.
persistent that I didn't want to be in production management and I wanted to be in music programming. That's the only thing that my mind was focused on. Like I didn't care about anything else.
Yeah.
So, literally, like, I can't really explain how it happened. All I can say is the Lord. I was just very prepared for the opportunity. Like, I didn't know how God made it happen, but he made it happen. Like, the music programming
Yeah.
team had only one girl on the team, and then she actually left to go to Viacom. So they were looking for someone else to fill in the role. And then my friend, who I actually got the job to work at Revolt, they approached her, and then she said no. She recommended me because I had been telling her that's what I want to do. So
So that's a good friend.
that's an amazing friend. She gave me that layup. She spoke to the director of the department, and then I spoke to the SVP. His name is Kelly G. He's basically the one who created 106 in Park, who created BET Matters, Music Matters. I'm sorry. He was a DJ in Chicago for a really long time. He saw my drive and my ambition. He knew I didn't really have any experience in music, but I'm just a connoisseur of music. I told him like I'm willing to learn, and he would ask me some musical questions, and I guess I got him right, and he was just like, all right, come on board, like let's do it and let's make it happen. So I think whenever we have like a live event going on, and I'm actually like working, like I'm talent coordinating and working with the artist and being a part of the overall show, I love like
Hmm.
the live in the moment crazy psycho action.
Yeah.
It's just so much, and you just really feel like a part of a team. And the way that you interact with like these artists and their teams, or like even just people who are attending the shows, to see like how important it is to them and the significance that it has on them, like that just really makes me feel good, like we're doing something right to make someone's day better. I love that, honestly. Like I can't point one single moment. I just love it. Like every time
Hmm.
that we go to our LA office and we shoot sessions, every time we go to down in Miami, we shoot RMC, South by Southwest, Rolling Loud, like anything that's a live event.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. So talking about artists, I'm sure you've worked with a ton of musicians, and what are some of the things that you've noticed that some of the most successful artists have in terms of qualities, and what are the
Hmm.
things that can be applied to an independent artist arsenal to try to get to that successful artist point?
The most successful artists are genuine and authentic. That that is literally the key in everything. Like they don't try to sound like
Mm-hmm.
anyone else. They don't try to have the same producers, same engineers. Like they are truly just speaking from their soul. Like music is an art form. It's an expression of yourself and who you are and what you're going through, Like it's a physical representation of your life journey wherever you are in it,
Yeah.
Like one of the artists that we first met was Daniel Caesar before he dropped his album, and when we were in a meet and greet with him, and everyone was just like everyone's jaw dropped, because like everyone was
Mm-hmm.
saying like before like maybe 2016, 2017, that R&B was dying, like everyone just sucks, like there no one talks about love anymore. And then here this dude
Yeah.
comes in who looks like he doesn't sing and just blows us away, and we were just like, wow, like you can really
Yeah.
tell. And he was just saying like everything that he said on the album is fact. Like that is just who he is as a person and what he went through, and he couldn't do anything less than that. So I think the
Right.
main quality is authenticity and being genuine in how you express yourself, and that's how you will continue to be relevant. Like one of my favorite artists is The Weeknd. Like because when he
Mm-hmm.
first came out, he didn't sound like anyone. He was literally just telling his story. He was talking about how he would do coke and try to give it to girls and do whatever. And like it wasn't the best
Yeah.
message, but that was his
What
story,
was his
like
message?
how he
Yeah.
that was his that was him. He wasn't trying to be the dope boy on the block. He wasn't trying to wear jewelry, have all the girls, have all the cars. Like that's a
Mm-hmm.
big mistake that a lot of new artists have. Like they think that
Mm-hmm.
there's a template to be a good artist, like you have to have jewelry, like you have to, you know
Right.
like have a drone going over your city looking at the hood, what I'm saying? Like that might not be you,
Yeah.
you might be like J. Cole, you actually went to college, like like you
Yeah.
would write dorm room
Shout out
raps,
to
and
St.
that's
John's,
cool.
by the way. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually went to St. John's last week. The campus is pretty cool.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's where I went. That's my alma mater, so that's cool.
Oh, you did. Nice. We did
Yeah. Yeah.
We did a millennials in media panel. It was Revolt, Title, Google, BT. A lot of people
Ah,
were there. One of the I'm in a women's group called Women in Entertainment Empowerment Network. It's called WEEN, and one of the girls,
okay.
she actually put it on because she's an alum.
So you say there's no real template for musicians, but are there some things that musicians should focus on early on when they're developing their career? You know, based on your experiences working with all types of artists.
One thing they should definitely focus on is just like quality control. Like,
Mhm.
don't you can tell when something like when you listen to music, like your ear usually knows like what sounds right and what doesn't sound right, you know. And if you just
Yeah.
choose to like bypass it, someone else is gonna hear it and just be like, no, like I can't really do that, you know, or like the song will be like amazing, but then the visuals just won't be as good, you know, or vice versa. Like
Right.
just quality control at every step of the way, you know, making sure you really vibe with your engineer, you vibe with your producers. If you have a creative director for your video, you know, like if you have a vision in
Hmm.
mind, make sure that's your vision. You're not compromising it for anyone. So,
So,
quality
so
control.
it seems that being an artist is more than just making music. It's being a creative. It's being a CEO. It's being a boss. It's
Mhm.
managing kind of everything. Then.
Definitely. And I was just I linked up with a friend of mine right now who just got off tour, and he said he actually spends 5% of his time now on music and 95% of the rest of his time being a manager because he doesn't have a good team around him. So,
Uh,
at any point of your artistic stage there's going to be some type of, you know, issue that you encounter, but one thing that's really important is having like a good team around you that you can trust. You know, like if you have someone that's your homie, like they can be your homie. Just make sure that they know the business, they are professional, they want to see
right.
you win just as much as you want to win, you know, because just like
Hmm.
a law of the world, like you are who you're around, you know, if you're around
Yeah.
6 millionaires, you'll be the seventh, you know. So just
Hmm.
quality control in everything, in your management, in your PR, in your graphic designs, in your social media, like everything just has to be like a full consistent package of, you know, quality.
Some of the artists that I've spoken with, uh, they've come up with a problem where they think that they don't have enough money to have quality control. For example, they'll feel that it costs too much to hire the best photographer and have the best videographer and have everything mixed and mastered perfectly. So, what are some suggestions for artists that perceive themselves as having lack of funding? Do you need that much money, or should they just suck it up and save some money, work hard, put something aside, just understand that it's a business, so you're going to need, capital. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, exactly what you said. Like if you want it, you're gonna make it happen. You know, like
Right.
Brent Fayez, he didn't have money at first. All he had was his computer. He, you know, saved some money, got a microphone, and was recording off his laptop. You know, like in the beginning, if you really are like someone who's in the beginning struggling, don't have that much, and you really want to focus, like get a daytime job or a nighttime job, whatever works for you. Stack your bread and do
Right.
what you got to do. Like nothing in this world is going to come easy. Like at my level, at an executive level, at whoever's listening, at a beginning level, you're always going to encounter some type of issue. And the thing that's going to
Mm-hmm.
set you apart from the people that succeed is how much you want it and how much time you put into it. So like if you yourself don't have the money to find to pay a good producer or pay a good engineer, you know, go online, like check out like some of these websites and SoundCloud and YouTube and find someone who just puts out dope ass beats, you know, like email them, like find their Facebook, find their Instagram. We can stalk anyone in the world right now and
Right.
get in their inbox, you know? So it's like it's not that it's hard, but it's not as complicated as it needs to be, you know. Try to
Yeah.
try to go online and just find someone that you think is dope, you know. If they say no, then you are exactly where you were 5 minutes ago. No, doesn't really matter. At least you tried, you know. And then best case
Mm-hmm.
scenario, you find someone who's super dope, who has the same worth ethic as you and wants to make something happen.
Yeah.
So,
For
as
sure.
far as money should never deteriorate you for anything, honestly. Like when God gives you a vision, he doesn't give you a vision that matches your budget. Like he's trying to,
Yeah.
test your faith. So if you believe that this is something that you're really supposed to do, just realize everyone in the world wants to do it and you just have to do it
Hmm.
better, harder, stronger.
Where do you see the future of the music industry?
Where I see the future of the music industry, in my opinion, um I feel like there's gonna be a lot more trans the
Okay.
rappers of the world because you don't really need a label to back you. Like if you are a dope artist, if you have love in your neighborhood, in your town, in your state, in your region, like you're gonna grow authentically. If those people who really rock with you, they stick out their hand and try to, use their resources to help build you up, then, you'll be good. And again, if you have like quality control, like everyone on your team is going to be on point just as much as you are. So I think there's going to be a lot more Chance the Rappers of the world. I think labels are going to just be big for like distribution as far as like like touring and promotions and marketing and things like that because labels just have
Hmm.
money and resources that some people just truly don't have access to, especially if you want to do more mainstream. Like with the weekend,
Hmm.
he was huge on Tumblr and online and everything like that. And then he signed to his label, and they just helped bring him international. Just help
Hmm.
get him on tours and get the marketing strategy down pat. So I think that is what's gonna happen. I feel like there's different type of artists. Like there's no template, so I can't really say how all artists are going to be or all genres of music. I'm just talking right now for urban and R&B because that's what my focus is right now.
Hmm.
Um, and what was your second question?
With the multitude of independent artists out there, the millions on
Mhm.
Spotify or on SoundCloud, etc., do you think that there's going to be movement from 1% of independent artists making a viable career to like 5 to 10 to 20%? And you already answered it with your Chance the Rapper question answer, but it was basically trying to figure out, if all the independent artists out there in the world are going to have a better shot of success. Now that the industry is kind of moving, towards that path.
Hmm. That I can't really say because like with the influx of the digital age, like we're in the information era. We're getting bombarded with so many things. Anyone
Right.
could I could go right now and put out an album on Spotify and SoundCloud. You don't really need much to put out. I think it's really just going to be quality control. Whose hands can you put it in, whose ears can you put it in, um, and we just need. I think the age of A&Rs are going to come back because since so many people have
Mm-hmm.
access to do, no one really has the know and the wisdom of what sounds good and what looks good and what needs to be done. I do think
Right.
that is going to come back because just
Interesting.
simply like looking at mainstream music right now, like this isn't going to last for very long. Honestly, this is a wave. And it's cool, it's
Right.
fun, it's dope, but it's definitely a wave and when the next new thing
And what
comes
do you
out, I
mean by
think it's going
that?
to be. What do you
Like
mean?
the current mainstream sound in the hip hop
Yeah.
R&B community. Okay.
Mhm.
The number
Yeah,
one sound though
definitely.
in the world, but yeah, I feel you.
No, yeah,
Which
it's
I think is
definitely
a
number one in the
catalyst
world.
though. It's a catalyst to something greater than possibly then.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 definitely. I mean, like take a look back at music history, like with Outkast and the Diplomats and
Hmm.
all of that. Like hip hop was still dope. Like it was fire. We weren't like, number 1 in the world, but we were on top. And pop
Right.
culture and music culture, they took from us, you know? So
Hmm.
if and that was just a wave like that sound doesn't coincide with what it is right now. So this
Right.
is just a
Right.
wave, and whatever the next new wave is going to be, like it's just going to add on to what our music history already is.
Cool. Deena, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you. I apologize for the production hiccups. I
No
hope you'll
problem.
sound and look amazing. And yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem. When is this going to come out?
So I'm gonna chop it up this week. Let me stop